Hey, MAGA, I think I might owe y'all an apology. I get out here about every single day and I roast on you pretty hard, and I got to thinking about that. I'm preaching empathy, people need to be empathetic and understand, what it's like for other people out there, and here I am roasting on y'all and stuff without even taking the time to walk a mile in your shoes, and that ain't right of me. And I was disappointed in myself for doing that. And, so the other night, I made a solemn promise to myself that said, when you get up the next morning there, Black Boot, you're going to be MAGA for a day. You're going to understand what these poor people are going through out there before you got there talking any smack out there anymore about these people, So I did. As soon as I woke up the next morning, I okay, how am I going to do this? Before I even get out of bed, I need to go ahead and get my mind set right. I need to get up my brain bucket, make sure I got things squared away. How do I do this? I need to think about cities that I don't know nothing about, never been to, never lived in, and don't care about. I need to start thinking about these cities and categorizing them up in my brain bucket. The ones that's got black populations there, I need to get them up in my brain bucket. And then I need to figure out how to pretend like I care about the people that live in those cities. And so I started concentrating on that hard there. It's like, first I gotta pretend like I care about the city or know anything about it. And now I got to pretend like I care about the people that live in the city. And then I got to pretend like I care about the crime that's happening to those people that I'm pretending that I care about in the city that I'm pretending to care about. So I'm like, that's a lot right there already. Before I even get out of bed, I might have to do all this stuff. So I sit there and thought on it for a long time. I'm like, okay, I think I finally got it. I got it. I'm holding on to it. I'm feeling pretty miserable about what I'm doing there. So I know I'm doing it right. And I'm like, okay, well, you ain't done, Black Boot. I mean, you're just getting your day started. That ain't nothing right there. You got to move on, and you got to hate on some people too at the same time. So I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. I mean, how do I hold on to my fake outrage that I just created for a city I don't know nothing about, and people I don't know nothing about, and crime I don't know nothing about, and now then I got to have some hate over here. Can I do it at the same time? And I went out there and tried, and I'm like, well, what can I hate on right now? And thought on it for a little bit. There are people out there with meat missiles and clam shacks right there. And I don't know which one's got which. There's people out there walking around with either a meat missile or a clam shack, and I don't know who's got what out there. And I'm like, right there, some fake outrage. I got some more fake outrage here on that right there. And now then, can I hold on to that? Plus the cities I don't know nothing about and all. I did it. I circled back over there, thought about that for a minute. I'm like, okay, I still got my fake outrage there. Now I got my fake outrage over here for meat missiles and clam shacks. So I'm holding on to that. I'm like, but that ain't enough either. And then it hit me. These people out there with meat missiles and clam shacks, you know what they're doing? Using the bathroom. These people are going to the bathrooms. And I don't know which bathroom they're going to. And I'm like, that right there's some more fake outrage mixed with some hatred right there. And I'm like, I've got this going on right now. And I feel disgusting, which means I've done everything right up to this point. So then I felt like I was okay to go ahead and get out of bed if I could hold on to this. So I did. I got up out of bed and started my day holding on to all this hatred and fake outrage that I created for myself. So went ahead and went outside to take the garbage out, and one of them fell right into my lap. I wasn't even looking. I was sitting there just kind of pondering on all my fake outrage, and the mail lady pulled up, y'all, in the mail truck. A Hispanic woman pulled up to deliver my mail, and I'm like, that right there's a DEI hire all day long. That's a female with brown skin, DEI. And I'm like, I am so proud of myself. Right now. I've got hatred for somebody I don't know nothing about now, nothing about it all. And I'm like, wow, that was a bonus. It just fell right into my lap. So now then I've got fake outrages for cities I don't know nothing about, with crime I don't know nothing about, on people I don't know nothing about. I've got meat missiles and clam shacks out there going to the bathroom that I don't know nothing about. And now then I got a DEI hire that pulled up right in my yard, So I'm like, wow, I'm doing everything right. And I'm feeling absolutely horrible and disgusting at this point. And I'm like, you are doing it absolutely right, Black Boot. You should be proud. And I was. So I went back into the house there, was bragging on myself to my wife about how well I had done there, hating on the mail lady, with her brown skin and being female and all that. And she told me to shut the F up's what she told me to do. I had to explain to her that, look, I'm MAGAing up for a day, baby. I told these people, I made a solemn promise to myself I was going to walk a mile in them people's shoes, and I'll be golly, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to carry this through. So anyway, she told me that we needed to go up to the grocery stores. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. I've got all this fake outrage and hatred for people I don't know, and I've been keeping it around the house here. I hadn't even tested it out in the public. I was looking forward to that, and I was like, well, I don't know how to do it, but I'll make the best of it, We did. We got up to the grocery store there and was driving through the parking lot, and I'm like, what do I need to do here? I feel like I need to start targeting somebody. I need to be surveying this parking lot and looking for somebody to target and hate on there. I did. You look long enough, you find anybody to attack, and I'm like, there's a brand new looking Cadillac. Who's driving that? It's a black woman driving a brand new Cadillac over there. I said, look over there, baby. You see that right there? And she goes, yeah, that's a pretty car. And I was like, no, not the car. Look who's driving it. Oh yeah, that's a pretty black woman, she said. I said, that's right there. That's my taxpayer dollars right there paying for that brand new Cadillac. That's my taxpayer dollars right there. And then she told me to shut the F up, you dumbass. And I had to remind her, I was like, look, baby, I can't shut up. I'm MAGA for a day. All right, look, I'm trying to be miserable. All right, I'm trying to figure this thing out. And you ain't helping me. If you're out here yelling at me and stuff like that, you're making me more miserable. You shouldn't be making me miserable, And I felt more MAGA. I felt like, I'm being attacked now. Now that I'm like, look, I am clearly being targeted now by this woman, I'm being targeted by this woman. She's trying to silence my First Amendment right here beside me in the car that I'm in with, And I'm like, wow, I'm falling right into this perfectly. I feel horrible, disgusting. I've got hatred in my heart. I've got fake outrage all over the place right now. So I'm doing good. So, reluctantly, she went into the grocery store with me, and we did a little shopping there. Went over to the meat department, and she went and reached and grabbed this package of ground beef, and she started to say something about that price, and I got on her immediately. I said, no, don't you say nothing about that price there, baby. You can't do that. We're magged up for a day. She said, you are. Look, you help me out here. Look, you can't say nothing about that price because, look, we bitched about that for 4 years and blamed it on the Joe Bidens, okay? It ain't the Joe Bidens in the White Houses now. It's the Donald F. and Trumps, We can't say nothing about these prices, okay? We got to suck it up buttercups is what we got to do. And I want you to set that ground beef down there in that buggy right there, and I want you to think to yourself how patriotic it is to pay these higher prices, all right? And say a little prayer for our orange Jesus while you do it, And she looked like she wanted to smack me upside my head. She didn't do it. I think it's because we was in public, but anyway, she put it down in there. We was walking through the store there, and I saw that black woman in that Cadillac, and she had a half a buggy full of groceries. And I was like, that's my opportunity right there. That's a 2 for 1. I said, do you see her over there? Baby, look at her. All them groceries, taxpayer dollars. She's on the government tit, what she's on over there. That's my taxpayer dollars buying her groceries. And she told me about to shut the F up. She said a bunch of stuff to me right there, And I was like, but I'm doing it right, baby. I'm doing all of it right. I told you I'd walk a mile in these people's shoes, and I'm doing it, by golly. I'm doing it, And I'm feeling all of the bad stuff, so I know that I'm doing it right, Anyway, we get back home eventually. She ain't even talking to me at this point. So we get back home, and I was like, I'm missing something important here. I feel like I got to turn on the Fox Faking Newses, okay? I got to get myself brainwashed up here. I'm going to fail this whole thing, So I turn on the TVs there and get on the Fox Faking Newses, and I start watching it no more than about 10 minutes, I had this disgusting taste in my mouth the whole time. My stomach felt queasy. But anyway, so I was like, that's right. That all feels like it should be right. But then I had this overwhelming desire to start fact checking. I'm like, these people are lying to me. I can just feel it that they're lying to me. Hey, Black Boot, go fact check this stuff. These people are lying to you. And I tried to fight it, y'all. I tried to fight it as hard as I could. I couldn't fight it off. I couldn't fend it off. I had to flip the TV off. I felt like I was going to vomit, So I fact checked them, found out it was all lies and everything. And I'm like, wow, that right there, you failed. You failed the test there, Black Boot. You couldn't Fox Faking News it up on these people, and you're supposed to be walking a mile in their shoes, I felt like a failure, and I felt like I needed to make up for it, and I thought about it. I got an idea. I called my brother up, and I said, hey, man, are you busy? He said, no, I ain't too busy. Why, what you going on there? And I said, what I need you to do is get up on the interwebs for me, if you can. Go to the deepest, darkest places of the web that you can find. Get on the telegrams too, and the 4chans or whatever's out there. The Marco Polos or the Rumbles. Some dude on Twitter. Go to Alex Jones. Anywhere you can go, the Breitbarts and all that stuff. I want you to flood my email box with a bunch of misinformation and lies. Just fill it up right there, conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Try to scare the hell out of me if you can do that. And he said, I would gladly do that for you there, Black Boot. And I was like, I appreciate it. So a little while later, my inbox started filling up with stuff, and he did a good job right there. I mean, he did a good brainwashing the hell out of me, scaring the crap out of me, all the stuff that I asked him to do. And I started filling my brain bucket up with this information and stuff, and I started feeling more and more disgusting about it and all. And I was like, stop it. You got to stop right here. You can't do it no more. It ain't worth it, Black Boot. It ain't worth it. And I put an end to it. I shut my inbox down. I said, you ain't reading no more of this stuff. And I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure because I didn't carry it all the way through. I stopped on the Fox Fake and Newses and then my inbox and all that. I did absorb some of the information, but I felt miserable. I couldn't do it no more. I started realizing that what was happening to me was being in that MAGA hole. I was just kept digging it deeper and deeper is all I was doing. And the more deeper you go, the more miserable you feel is what happens. And knowing that there's light outside the tunnel, I could climb out that hole anytime I wanted to and live in reality. I was like, I could go out there and live back in reality anytime I want to. I just have to want to and not be addicted to the fear and the hate and all that stuff, I knew that. So I broke away from it, y'all. But hey, look, MAGA, like I said, I owe you an apology on that. I'm apologizing up on you right now because I didn't know how miserable you actually were, how miserable you were making yourselves every single day by having to do all the things you do from the time you wake up in the morning till the time you go to bed at night with all the fake outrage, the fake hatred that you create for people you know nothing about. All of the moving of the goalposts you got to do constantly. That right there will wear you out too, man. So all the things you got to do, plus filling your head full of bull crap all the time, doing all that while simultaneously avoiding reality itself. That will wear you out. Now look, knowing all this now, since I did walk 3/4 of a mile in your shoes there, I got some advice for you. Hey, stop doing that. It would probably be a whole lot more healthy for you too, because, making yourself miserable like this, like you do every day for no reason whatsoever, because the reality you're living in isn't reality. That's a reality being created for you by Nazis and right-wing Christian nationalists and people like Russia, okay? That's the reality they're creating for you, and you're choosing to stay in it because you're addicted to the cortisols and the adrenalines that go coursing through your vein when you hear about crazy crap that you think's going on in the world that ain't really happening, okay? So anyway, I just wanted to let you know I'm apologizing up on you. You do have a miserable life you're living that you're creating for yourself, all right? Inmate Trump.